Welcome to Beefcake, episode number 19. I am Wilson Horrell, and your co-host is not quite here yet, but I think I can see him. He's poking his head out of the dressing room. As you can hear from the crowd, he's on his way. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vaughn Ross.
What is up?
What an entrance.
Oh, man, I'm so glad to be here.
How many people in the world come in with a theme song like Domination by Pantera? There's not many that can pull it off, and you, sir, just pulled it off. In front of a live audience of 168,000 people, recording from Neyland Stadium.
Hello,
Cleveland. Cleveland. Your theme song was suggested by a friend of ours, Deborah, that I follow on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is @WannaRunFast. WANNARUNFAST.
@WannaRunFast.
You got to go follow her.
Guess what? She just got a brand new follower.
That's right. How nice is that?
That's awesome.
Well, let's get on to Beefcake episode 18 because I got something that I want to talk about. You know I got questions. And I know you got answers. Are you familiar with a Hobson's choice?
The Hobson's choice.
Yep.
I can't
I'll
say
give
that
you
I
a second
am.
to think about it. You can give any answer.
Okay.
Hobson's choice.
I'll just take a stab at it. Is it like making a choice of some kind?
It certainly is. Man, you're good. You're good. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Man, I couldn't do it without laughing.
In the early 1600s, there was a stable owner named William Hobson. Mr. Hobson had about 40 horses in his stable, 40, 50 horses. He had a lot of horses. He rented those horses out. He leased those horses by the week or by the month to individuals who, well, obviously needed horses. It was rumored that most of his clients were mailmen who had to deliver their route, and other people just had to, whatever you need a horse for. Anyways, the only catch to Mr. Hobson's way of doing business, when you walk into his stable, you take the horse closest to the door. Okay. There are no options. There's no negotiating. There's no price breaks, no price differences. If you do business with Mr. Hobson, it's take it or leave it. And so that's where the term Hobson's choice comes from.
Ah, okay.
Mr. Hobson did this because he wanted to keep his best horses from getting rented every day or every week and having people come in and take those first and naturally giving those the most abuse.
Right. Okay.
And like I said, you have the option to take it or you have the option to leave it. There is no in between.
Right. Right. So if you go in there and there's a crappy horse close to you and you don't want it, you just have to leave. You don't get to pick the second one.
And being that you most likely need a horse, you better give it a second thought as to whether you can produce something with that horse.
Right. You wouldn't have been there if you didn't need a horse to begin with.
And some days you'll walk in and you'll get a stallion, and other days it's the donkey.
Yeah.
You just never know. Of course, I related this to what you got thrown in front of you every day, every morning. Every morning when your eyes open, you are presented with a Hobson's choice to some degree. For the most part, you're given a day and you can either take it or you can stay under the covers and you can hide from the world and you can absolutely just leave it behind.
Right. You can just not do anything.
That's right. And you can avoid everything that you can possibly avoid. And I've done both, but what you have in front of you is a horse, and that horse can do something, whether it's move fast or make good decisions or bad decisions or bury its head and work hard. There's some project you can find to do with that horse.
Right on.
And my suggestion would be to get on it and ride it like hell. because they're all paid for.
Yeah.
Your horses every morning are already paid for.
They're already there waiting for you. You got to do it.
All right, so every day you wake up with the decision of whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. Or you can dictate the day, or you can let the day dictate you. I'm guilty of allowing the day to dictate me before I get going.
What do you mean?
I can wake up and decide that it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I tend to have bad days. Or I can wake up, and it doesn't take much. I don't have to have a lot on my plate to feel overwhelmed and feel like that I'm never going to make it through. Or I can wake up and just decide I'm going to hammer it. I've got a stallion, and I'm just going to kill it. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to go. I have polar opposites like that. I don't believe I'm bipolar, but I do have polar opposites in how I'm going to go about the day.
How often do you wake up and feel like it's going to be a bad day?
Not often, but it happens monthly. It happens, a couple times a month at least. I'm not immune to it. And most of those days it's because of some very small tasks that I have to get done, and I feel overwhelmed.
Right.
Do you get overwhelmed easy?
Overwhelmed, maybe. Yeah. I tend to sometimes do that to myself, but I was going to say that I don't think, I was thinking, like, when was the last time I had a bad day? And I'm having trouble thinking of one.
Well, that's a blessing.
I feel like I've gotten to a place where crazy stuff can be going on around me, but I'm learning to, like, look at it with a different perspective, or look at it differently so that it doesn't make me have a bad day. I will have days where nothing seems to go right, right, and things like seem to be falling apart. But I would like to say that I, for the most part, have the ability to look at those things and learn something from them and turn it into something good.
I have to remember that I have that ability. That's my biggest problem. I know that I have the ability. I just get so caught up in all the little bull crap that's going on that I forget to step back and say, man, you don't think like normal people. Like, you need to have to look, you need to step back and let this play out a little bit before you decide that the world's coming to an end. Because I can be having the greatest day and have the greatest outlook, and then get a text that I need to respond to, get an email that I forgot to respond to, and have a bill that I have to put in the mailbox on my way out the door. And all of a sudden I feel like I am covered up for the next month. Like, I'll never get my head above water. And I just get overwhelmed and I start to freak out. And so I get halfway to the mailbox to put the bill in the mail, and then I grab my phone and I start typing the email, but I stop and start the text and I never send it. And then I decide I need to get back to the mailbox part of it. And then I think, well, I probably ought to take my trash out if I'm going to the mailbox. And then I don't get anything done, so I don't function well when feeling overwhelmed.
What I tend to do is have a task that I need to do, or some project I need to take care of, and I'll get like to a sticking point in it, and then I'll be like, it'll sit there for like a month and I just don't want to do it. Like, I know I need to do it, but I don't really want to do it for whatever reason, and it just sits there and sits there until the very last. I guess that's procrastination, right? But like, it sits there until like the very last minute when I have to do it. And then all of a sudden, the person that's waiting on me to do it is like angry.
Like, all of a sudden, they're like angry. They've probably been angry. Right. The anger has been building for a long time. Now, do you make yourself miserable? Do you hash and rehash, like, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, or do you just let it go until it's time to get it done and then jump on it?
No. I know that I know the whole time I should be doing it.
Yeah, that sucks. That's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
You perform better when your plate's full, don't you?
I do. I'd like to say that I do, yeah. I like to have lots of things going on. I feel like I perform better when things are moving fast. You know what I mean? I do much better in an environment where we have to do this right now. We're gonna do these things today, all these things are going to get done today. They need to be done at this time. And then I'm like, okay, here I go. I'm gonna make it happen. There's no time for me to be like putting things off. I can't put them off. That's why I do well with task managers, where you put a task in and give me a due date, and I look at it. I will make sure that gets done. But if you just give me something and say do this, I'll just like, okay, and then I'll get around to it eventually.
Well, let me tell you where you and I are both totally different, but down the exact same line, is that I'm very task oriented. The problem is all my tasks have to be done that day. Even if I know it's something that needs to be done a month down the line, I get on that task. It comes out of the Pez dispenser and I want it done now. And I need everybody to get it done now. Not just me. I need you to get, as you well know, I need this done now. And I need it done now because I'm either going to forget about it or I'm going to lose interest in it.
Right.
And so I really do fear forgetting about it.
Yeah. Well, here's another example of things that happen. Like you sent me a text yesterday wanting me to do some stuff to the website, and I get things like that, and then they get sandwiched in between other things, and then I never get around to it. A week from now, you'll still be thinking about it, and you'll be like, when's he going to get that thing done? In the meantime, I'm not even seeing it. Last night, I was on my computer looking at my messages from you. I was searching for something. There was like a supplement company that we were going to test. I did a search in my text messages, and I found what I was looking for, but then I went to close out the search, and I accidentally hit the wrong X and cleared out our entire chat history. So even if you have asked me to do something, like it's not going to be there. You know what I mean? So like I'll never even think about that again unless I put it into my task management system or ask Siri to give me a reminder.
Oh man. Well, I need to back my data up, because at some point I'm sure I'm going to be holding you by the hair with my phone in front of your face saying, "Did you read this? Did you not read this? Why are you ignoring me? Why will you not?"
Yeah.
And you said that I'll wonder why it doesn't get done. It's not a question of why it doesn't get done. I start thinking, oh, he read that and he thinks that my idea is stupid, and that's why he's not responding to it. He thinks I'm stupid.
Right.
He thinks really most things that I do are stupid. And now I'm sad. And now I'm mad that he didn't get it done.
I'm just going to burn the house down. I'm just going
to blow this whole place up.
Yeah. And I'm really bad about that. Like, I guess it's like, hey, look, a squirrel. I could be like mid-text, like reading your text, and then it's very possible that somebody else could send another one while I'm reading that one, and then I look over to see what it says, and they're asking me to do something, and then I go down a whole other rabbit hole and never get back to the other one. You know what I mean? I'm really bad about that.
Well, the good news or bad news of that is, I'm not very far from a copy and paste and reminding you that I sent that text message.
Right, for sure.
So I'll tell you something that you've done really well, that you weren't under any time crunch to do, but you spent a lot of time doing it, and you certainly did an excellent job of it, is the 3-month deadlift program.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed doing that.
We've got a lot of interest in that, and we've had people signing up for it. Kudos to you.
Yeah. Thank you. I enjoy creating stuff like that. Building products like that is something I enjoy doing. And when it comes to lifting heavy, it makes it even more fun.
And speaking of a deadlift program, I have somebody who's probably not going to subscribe to it or purchase it, because I think he's got the deadlift pretty well figured out. But on the LHRL podcast on Thursday, we're going to have Mr. Callie Beck with startingstrongman.com, and you've got to check this guy out. He was the strongest man in California at one point in time.
Yeah, you told me that the other day, and made me really excited.
And he's going to talk to us about how an amateur would get into strongman, how more of the everyday CrossFitter, lifter person would enter the sport and get some pleasure from the sport without having to be the strongest man in California.
Nice. And how did you come to meet this gentleman?
Because when we had Elijah on the show and we talked about strongman on episode 24, I had put out a tweet asking about strongman, saying that it sounded like an interesting sport, and I had a great deal of replies from that. This gentleman said, I'd love to be on your podcast if you'll have me.
All right.
And he has a podcast himself, and you can find that podcast on startingstrongman.com. Callie Beck.
Sweet.
And, of course, we have Twitter, Instagram, at Lift Run Long. That's at Lift Run Long. And we have Reddit. And we have a subreddit that is r/Lift Heavy Run Long.
That's correct.
And you need to go there, and you need to let me know what Vaughn's intro music needs to be.
Oh, yeah.
You need to let me know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, who needs to be on the show, and any advice, suggestions, questions, comments, angry exhortations are welcome.
I bet we could get the hashtag Vaughn's intro music trending on Twitter.
I bet we can. Let's do it. We need to do it. And we have music by Ted Horrell and the Monday Night Card, which is what you're listening to right now and what you're going to hear on the way out.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch you on Wednesday for Beefcake episode 19.
All right. Awesome.
Be good.
Sometimes it's easier to pretend that you didn't hear what they said. Some things you've known so long, you'd rather not change your head.